If you're a dog influencer and your photos and videos are being stolen and used by somebody else to potentially get money out of someone, what can you do to take action to make sure you're protecting your content? Let's talk to everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, to find out more.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that's dedicated to all things intellectual property.
Tony, we're starting to see more and more dog influencers on social media have their content stolen for maybe some nefarious purposes. We are seeing people, especially over on Instagram, grab photos of well-known Instagram famous dogs and putting them on other social platforms saying, this is my dog and I'm rehoming this dog and it's an X dollar fee to get this dog, and trying to scam people by using those photos. When it comes to being the influencer who owns the dog, who owns the photos, what are their next steps when we're starting to see these things?
Well, obviously, it's very troubling for people to have their intellectual property misappropriated in some way. And obviously, this is the textbook definition of copyright infringement. The photo of that dog is the copyright of the owner of said dog. And so there's an expectation that if you want to use that copyright, you ask for permission. If you completely rip it off, you don't ask for permission, you're misappropriating it. That's a clear violation of a ton of different rights afforded to copyright owners under the Copyright Act. So, you're looking at the reproduction right, the public display right, all of it would be clear grounds for a copyright owner to go after these infringers for copyright infringement. Now, I want to do a little bit of a reality check. A lot of these scammers are from overseas, India, Nigeria, Asia, anywhere in the world, maybe even in the homeland here in the United States. The reality is that you can't figure out or ascertain who the scammer is by finding their name easily. They're usually working off of some fake facade Instagram account with, a random name with a bunch of numbers. And obviously, they try to win the hearts of good people, and maybe people that have soft hearts, to solicit and scam them out of money. So the reality is you can't go after these scammers by going to federal court, buying an index number, and then suing them for copyright infringement. What you can do, however, is engage in a takedown by way of the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. You probably have heard about it from other videos or maybe in the general social media landscape, but the DMCA is a very effective form of legislation especially since the dawn of the internet, that has created a bevy of different terms that have, at the bare minimum, I think, mitigated and deflected any sort of misappropriate use of copyright material that belongs to someone else, and it's protected copyright owners around the world, especially here in the United States. So you've heard of DMCA takedowns. This is what happens when you contact a service provider like Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or anyone else that is in the business of disseminating content. You can issue a DMCA takedown request to those service providers, and you can say, X account is using my intellectual property to solicit money. And it's, like you said, for nefarious reasons. They're scamming people. And essentially, when you make that claim to the service provider is then obligated to issue a takedown notice and immediately take down the asset that rightfully does not belong to said scammer. Now, I think over time, DMCA takedown requests have improved, and the requests are much more tailored to, kind of laying out different, reasons why you want to take down. Privacy reasons, defamation, whatever it is, but clearly spelled out could be intellectual property theft. And it's clear as day. If you're doing a DMCA takedown from your account, from your dog influencer account, and it shows clearly that all these photos are yours and they're being used by a scammer, that gives clear reason to the service provider to go after these scam accounts and take down the account. So that would be the way to go. Again, it would be a worthwhile fight to go after these scammers by way of your standard copyright infringement lawsuit, especially because the damages amount to $150,000 statutory damages per claim. The factors, though, to bear in mind are actually, one, you have to have your copyrighted work registered in the U.S. Copyright Office, so that's important. But two, the likelihood of getting a response from these scammers by way of legal correspondence is just going to not happen at all. They're not going to respond to it. So the DMCA takedown method is the way to go. And obviously, if you have any questions, you can contact a lawyer that specializes in the creator economy. They can help give you some more guidance about DMCA takedowns, maybe even help you do it on your behalf. And of course, I would even read up on all the different service providers out there, from TikTok to Instagram and everything in between. Read their terms and conditions and the protocols about DMCA takedowns. I would say it'd be worthwhile reading up on it and being mindful of it ahead of time, so that God forbid that day comes where someone has misappropriated your intellectual property, you know exactly what to do. But of course, if you have any shadow of a doubt, you can contact a lawyer for guidance on how to approach those.
And if you have more questions or you want to study more up on this, we have a ton of episodes with Tony on our main channel, youtube.com/KMRobinson, where you can go through and you can learn the influencer side of life from a legal perspective, what you can do to protect yourself, what you can do if something has happened. We have all this really great, valuable information. We're answering a ton of questions over there as well. So if you have questions related specifically to dog influencing or the pet space, here's a great place for you to go ahead and drop those questions. Tony is coming back for tons of episodes on the main channel, but if we get something really good that is dog specific, we'll answer it here as well. So make sure you check out the playlist that we're going to link down below. And as always, you can drop your questions for us here and reach out to Tony on his social media for follow-up. So Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor, and you can check out my entertainment law podcast called End Scene, with new episodes dropping every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Drop your questions down below. Tony's coming back to help keep us legally protected inside of the pet influencer space. We want to make sure we're getting your questions answered. Plus, we're dropping daily videos helping you navigate the world of dog parent life, from being a pet influencer to traveling with your dog to taking better photos and videos of your dog to help you level up so that this can be your most profitable and least stressful year ever. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.